Hi everyone, I'm just doing another video, a quick one on how to increase the fan speed on the dv9000. Now I reflowed this laptop, it's in another video, and unfortunately it's still running hot because the fan speed won't change. I downloaded the new BIOS, but it still won't increase the fan speed. Now there's a few ways of changing the fan speed, but I just want to permanently make the fan run on full speed because I really don't care about the noise. But if you care about the noise, then you're not going to want to do this because it's going to run full speed all the time. But unfortunately, I didn't do this before I put the laptop back together. So I'm just going to show you a quick way how to max out the fan speed on the dv9000. Now there's a few ways. Is you can unplug with the laptop apart, you can unplug the fan wires, and they plug into the bottom of the motherboard here. And you can unplug that, and you can just wire it directly, the negative and positive of the fan, to a USB port. So you could solder a wire from the positive of the USB port and run it over to the fan to directly run the fan. But there's another way of doing this. So I'll just talk about the fan here has 4 wires. And there's a plug, and I've drilled these holes after I did my reflow, just to let a little air in, and I can actually still see the plug on the board. If you look in here, it's right there. You can see that little white spot there, and that's the plug. Now, this fan has, like I said, has 4 wires. There's a positive and a negative, which are the red and the black, and then there's 2 other wires. One's a control and one's a sensor. Now, if you cut off the green and yellow wire, and you just leave the black and red wire on the plug, then the fan will run full speed. So what you can do is you can then, with the laptop apart, you can unplug that, and you can cut off the yellow and green wire, and just leave the red and black wire. Now, I don't want to take this laptop apart right now. I've already drilled some holes, so one way I'm going to try is just to make another hole where I can actually get to the plug. And if there's enough room, I may be able to do this from the outside of the computer. And I don't care about putting another hole in because the more air flowing through the computer, the better. So I'm going to get my soldering iron here. This one's a soldering gun, and it heats up pretty hot. And I'm just going to melt a hole around that area, and then I can just, without drilling. Now, you don't want to drill, because if you drill from the outside, all the shavings are going to go into the computer, and also the drill bit could hit the motherboard. So I'm just going to melt a hole in there and see if I can get to the plug. So I'm just going to heat up the gun and get it nice and hot. This is, you can use a normal soldering iron, but I'm going to try this one. This one gets really hot. I think it goes up to 230 watts. So 150 on the low and 230 on the high. So you can see it glowing red. And what I'm going to do is I see my plug is right here. So all I got to do is just cut a hole in around this plug here. And I'm just going to make a little square hole. I'll just melt this out of here. Now what I'm going to do is grab something to lift the plastic out, because I don't want to push it down into the board. So the next thing I got to do, have the hole melted here. I'm going to clean that up a little bit after. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach in. Let's put this back down here. I'm going to reach in and pull out the plug. So all you got to do is get a pair of pliers like this, and you can just reach in and pull the little plug out. It's right over top of the motherboard. Carefully pull that out like that. And there we go. So there's lots of room. Okay, so I've taken the plug out now with the pliers, and you can see here there's 4 wires, and there's a positive and a negative, a black and a red, and a white and a yellow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the yellow and the white of, now an easy way to do this is just to pull it out of the connector. And then I'm going to plug it back into the board and test it. The little tab, so if you pull up on that little tab there, and you can slide these little wires out. So I've taken the white and yellow out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it back in, and then I'm going to turn on the laptop and see what happens. And once, if it does work, then I can just tape these up and then push them back down inside. So I've just disconnected the wire, and I'm just going to turn it on and see if the fan runs full speed. If it doesn't, try to switch it off right away, because you don't want to overheat your chip. Oh, okay, there we go. It worked. You can hear the fan. So the idle temperature of the GPU is running at about 45 now. It's been on for 15 minutes, and there's no load on it, and the CPUs are running at 33C. So, and you can look up here, CPU 29 Celsius, and I'm just going to load a video and see what happens. Put a little load on the processor. This is just a video taken at the Toronto Zoo, and it's the last of the elephants. They're supposed to be leaving. They actually didn't leave this year. They were supposed to, but I'm not sure what's going on, if they're going to be heading out for this winter or not. But anyway, you can see that the core is using 72% of one of them, and 46, and you can see that the graphics, the GPU's down to 48 and Celsius, and the cores are 51 and 50. So they're very even compared to before, where I saw the GPU running up to 70C. And I also had a fan beside the computer blowing air onto the laptop, and it's still, the temperature jumped up. Now I don't mind the fan noise as long as the computer keeps working. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to shut it off, flip the laptop over, tape up those wires, the yellow and the white wires, and tuck them in to the computer. And then what you could do is I might cut out a piece of fiberglass window screening, and I'll tape it around the hole to just keep anything from poking into the computer and shorting out the motherboard. Well, that was just a fan fix for the dv9000, and there's other ways of doing this, but this is a really easy way, and you don't have to take the computer apart also, so if you don't mind melting a hole in the bottom of your laptop. So that was just the video. Thanks for watching.